Good morning, Judy.
Hi, Mason. How are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Is it just you and me so far?
Looks like it.
Ooh, good. I have a lot of questions.
Oh, good. Let me pull up my notepad here.
So what are you going to teach us today?
So today we're just going to be doing a lot of review and kind of workshopping, just based on everything that you guys talked about yesterday. So we're going to do lots of questions, or just depending on what people need. Any like content review, and then we're going to review some of these kind of research conversations about just talking with your market about the offers. And then if anybody's done the magnetic offer observation worksheet again, we'll review that as well.
Oh, okay. Sounds interesting.
What's up, everybody? Eric, Paul, Wanda have joined us. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Mason, how you doing?
Doing great. Here on the road.
Huh?
Looks like you're on the road. Nice.
Yeah, I'm just
Cool.
at my place. Yeah, I should be inside in about 10 minutes. But
Oh, cool. You're fine.
I have a bit of an update that's as we're just kind of getting started here. If you
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's hear it.
So I posted my first video on LinkedIn yesterday. I don't know, late morning, early afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I have 1,800 connections on LinkedIn that I've just made over the last 10 years.
Right.
I'm extremely inactive on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I do on it is like every 2 or 3 months, I'll drop in and accept some of the invitations. I reject a lot of them because it's been a pretty curated list of C-level people, investment bankers, venture capitalists. It's a pretty high-level list of people.
Right.
And there's a bunch of people that I do have a question about what I should do with these. I don't know. I've got 400 or 500 people that are just want to connect me that I haven't connected with. I've just left them out there. Right. So anyway, I have 1,800 connections on LinkedIn. I have about 3,000 on Facebook. I posted a video a few days ago on Facebook, probably 3 or 4 days ago. I got 197 views, which is not bad.
Yeah.
So I posted the same video on LinkedIn with about half as many people
Looks like we're
following me.
You're cutting out, Paul.
Oh, you missed the best stuff.
I know. I was like, no, not at this moment. Yeah, you're still pretty choppy.
Can you hear me now?
Try turning off your video.
Oh, okay, good idea. All right, how's that? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just gonna say, 3,000 people on Facebook, 197 views on that video that's been out 3 or 4 days. I posted the same video yesterday in LinkedIn with 1,800 connections. I have 1,035 views already.
Yes, that's awesome.
What the heck?
Yeah. So that's that's really valuable information, right?
Right.
That's yeah, there's definitely a lot going on with LinkedIn's organic reach. It's definitely more, you're going to get more reach on LinkedIn. So the trick is just making sure that you have, so just for everybody, just make sure that you're going to tailor your content for the platform. So Paul, you've got like a really good message for people on there, just because the people who are on there, they're either looking for work or they're likely recruiting. And if they're recruiting, right, then having investment money to find like top tier people, it's a really strong connection, right? So I would definitely recommend for everybody else, just based on that feedback from Paul, if you can find a way to present your message on LinkedIn, that would be really powerful. And it will be harder for some than for others like Paul, but definitely a great place to test.
So Mason, is there a way for me to go in, because I don't know anything about LinkedIn, and look at the analytics to figure out what percentage of the 1,000 people came from my connections versus outside my connections?
I'm not sure about that specifically.
Okay.
I'm gonna look into it for sure.
Okay, I'm just curious because, you know, and then what should I do with the other 400 invitations? Should I just accept all, or should I still continue to kind of curate it with, you know, my crowd?
I would curate it. So that's the power of building those networks for yourself. So Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere else, like you want to be very proactive about making sure that they're at least in the realm of somebody that you can serve with your offer. And so I would keep it curated, and I would go on offense as well. So going out and finding people that look like the type of person you could help, connecting with them. Because then once you've got your whole library of content sitting on your LinkedIn profile, they'll go check it out even before they add you as a connection. They'll see all that content, lots of credibility, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to connect with this guy.
So, okay. And then I totally forgot about this, but they have groups on LinkedIn also. And I assume they kind of work the same way as Facebook. I don't know that. I'm just making the assumption. So my question is, should I set up a LinkedIn group like I did on Facebook, you know, and start driving people to that group on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, I would test it for sure. Facebook's group functionality and features are really good. I don't know as much about LinkedIn's groups. I need to kind of get up to speed there, but just because of your offer is going to be so good for LinkedIn, I think I would definitely explore that. But by far the first priority is just getting all of your content over to LinkedIn and just testing that out. And then, having a group would be, I think it would be the right thing to do. But I don't know if there's any like severe limitations yet.
Okay.
But I'll definitely look into it. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, great.
Well, that's awesome. Great news.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how the rest of your content does on LinkedIn.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. We got a bunch of new people on the call. James, Marcelo, Wanda. All right, guys. So let's jump into this. Today is just going to be like we're going to review everything that we've been doing. If there's any content review that anybody wants to do, let's start there. After that, we'll go into following up on these conversations that Dallin asked you guys to have yesterday. So asking people about your offer, what they like, what they don't like, getting feedback. And then if any of you have done your magnetic offer observation form again, we'll review that. So first, content. Does anybody have any questions about content or would like to review a piece of content?
I have a question.
Yeah, Lindsay.
Sorry. So I was trying to make like behind the scenes kind of videos when I was in Las Vegas, and I made a workout video just in a hotel gym. And then I started giving them like training on how to set up a workout in a hotel gym. And then I didn't know if that was a Decide video or an Orient video. Or does that even matter? Some of them kind of blur the lines. Maybe it's not a big deal.
Yeah, well, so I would think about the different types of content. We chunk it out just because it's the sequence that people go through. Like, imagine a webinar. A webinar includes all of this type of stuff all in one video, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's easy to blur the lines. But tell me again, why were you thinking of it as a Decide video?
Well, because I was trying to figure out how, like, just behind the scenes. And so I was showing, like, behind the scenes of how I get my workout in when I'm on vacation.
Got it. Yeah.
But then I started giving more information about that. And then I was like, wait, now it's kind of going into more of, like, a training, like an informational thing.
Right.
So how would I have kept that Decide? Or is that not really a good idea for Decide?
So for Decide, if you would, to make it very like clearly a Decide video, I would focus it on a specific product that you have. So if you're talking about behind the scenes, this is how I get my workout in, my 30-day lean workout in while I'm traveling. Okay. And if you want to pull the trigger on 30-day lean, now is the time to do it. You've seen all my other content. Let's go.
Gotcha. Okay, I see.
So what you did before, I would classify it definitely more as orient if you weren't focused on a specific like product pitch. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or if
Okay.
you were thinking of like travel as like a specific, sorry, let me, if you weren't thinking of travel as like a specific objection to a specific product, I think that's a really good topic for Orient, just generally, right? Like,
Okay.
how do you continue, like, keep your momentum while you're traveling?
Okay.
Like that's
And-
really good
yeah.
Orient.
Okay. Perfect. That's all. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Judy, did you have a question? Let's get you unmuted here. Let's see. Can you unmute yourself? I can't do it.
You talking to me?
Yeah. When I'm doing my videos, sometimes I find that I tell a little story about myself, and then once I tell a story about myself, do I also need a story about someone else? It seems like there needs to be, I'm confused as to whether I need two stories or I just need one story, one about them or one about me or both.
Right. So, I mean, it's a judgment call, and I would like err on the side of keeping the videos simple and easy to understand. And so if the stories are really simple, you could put two of them together for sure. But if you want to really get into the story, I would just stick with one per video that really, really kind of illustrates the point and drives it home and lends itself to the purpose of the video, wherever it is in the OODA stages, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yes.
Cool. James, did you have a question?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, does anybody else have any questions about content, how to approach it, or does anybody want to do a content review? All right. Okay, so now let's, I'm just gonna ask everybody on the call briefly. So who here has begun the process of having conversations with their target market and getting feedback on your offer, what you're doing, things like that? Judy? Can you unmute again? Oh, yeah, I got you there. Okay. I'd love to hear how that's been going, Judy.
It's been pretty good, actually. I get, the thing is, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, and I don't know if that's totally good because I want to find out what I can do better. And, but evidently a lot of people are watching these videos, and I got 5 new people that joined my, my group that I never heard of before this week. So that was good. But I called a couple people and I had very, very good conversations. What particularly do you want to know?
Well, I'd just love to hear how they went. Anything that came from those conversations that maybe was kind of a light bulb for you, some kind of a realization or something you learned from it that you might take forward and change something?
No, not yet. I just got a lot of compliments from people on how much they enjoy the stories and how much they enjoy watching. I didn't get anything that I thought would help me get better.
Got it. Okay. So that's good feedback for us.
I think
Well-
people don't want to criticize. They just want to say, "Oh, you're so wonderful."
Yeah. Did you, well, what types of questions did you ask them?
Goodness. The one lady I had an hour and a half conversation with, so
Wow.
I don't know what all I asked her during that time. I asked her if she watched the video. She said she watched several of them. I asked her if she thought that the material was right for her or for people like her, because she's kind of an avatar for me. And she said yes, it was right on, it was perfect. And I just asked her what I could do even better. And she just was like, well, just keep on doing what you're doing. She said, I don't know where you're going to find more stories or more examples, because you've already covered almost everything I can think of in self-esteem. But she did give me an idea of one more thing to talk about. So she said she thought people work better if their environment is cleaner and nicer and not so cluttered. And she thought I should do something along that line as well. So I put that on my list, but I didn't learn a lot. Sorry.
No, that's good feedback. So one thing that I would recommend for everybody with these types of conversations is to kind of ask them about themselves, like the things that they're wanting to accomplish, and like where any roadblocks that they're running into consistently in their life that's preventing them from getting there, right?
I do
Because
ask
if you,
those things. Yeah.
what was that?
I did ask those things.
Oh, good. What was her responses to those types of questions?
Well, she just said that since she worked with me, that her life has just gotten really great, and that she's gotten the ideal job that she wants, and she's living close to her kids again, and that she got a promotion, and that everything's going great. And I mean, I got nothing.
So was she like a past client?
Uh-huh.
Oh, got it. Okay. So do you have a testimonial from her already?
No, but I told her to send me one.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So I would say, Judy, your next assignment would be to go find somebody to have a conversation with that has not,
Yeah, okay.
that isn't a client, and asking those questions and starting to identify any trends among people you haven't worked with yet, of like things that they're running into, problems that they're having, getting to where they want to go. And then you can start to speak to those people a little bit more directly. And if there's anything you can do to shift your offer or how you talk about certain problems in your content, then that's going to be useful for you going forward.
Great.
Has anybody else had conversations with people in their market, just asking them questions about themselves or asking them how they see you or your offer?
Mason, give me like 2 minutes though. I'm driving and I want to share something, but I'm about to go through a spot that's like kind of spotty. So give me like 2 minutes, let someone else go, and then I have something to share.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good, John. All right, anybody else? James, have you chatted with anybody?
Not since yesterday's call. No, I haven't.
Do you have any plans to?
You know where I'm at, Mason. I'm still trying to get my Orient videos done. So I got 4 of 14, and I've still got to decide. Yeah. So yeah, I do. I'm still working on the videos right now.
You're focused on the content. Okay, that sounds good.
Hey, Mason.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet because I was driving all day yesterday, but
Right.
do you think I should just like reach out to people in my group? Or I know what they're going to say, not that I shouldn't talk to them, but people who don't sign up for boot camp or coaching, their complaint is the price. And so we already have something in the works for that, you know?
Right.
So what do you think I should be what information should I be trying to get? Just more of their pain points?
Yeah, I would strike up conversations with people who haven't purchased yet and ask them, I would go more into the pain points, into the struggles that people are having. And like you said, you know a lot of this already, but the more you can identify any nuances, any novel situations that are like, that maybe you haven't talked about yet, like things change rapidly all the time. And so this is just a really, really valuable practice to stay on top of, because then you can make sure that as things shift, even in small or subtle ways, your messaging can be really accurate.
Okay.
Targeting any of those small shifts in your market.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, can you hear me, Mason?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think I'm in a good spot.
Cool.
Just wanted to kind of share with the group here, because there's quite a few people in this group that are having a lot of success filling up their Facebook groups and launching events, and some pretty cool stuff's coming up for them because we're at the end of this. But I've only enrolled maybe 12 or 15 people total in my group, and I realized that either the messaging needs to change or something needs to change so that I can attract the right people. But half the people that join that group, half of the 15, I don't know if it's split someone in half, but half the group are people I don't know, and then the other half are people I do know, and they're people who I've always wanted as clients because we've been acquaintances and so forth. So that's been really cool. And then I just kind of threw in there, just kind of tried to accelerate the process last night. And I first did my observe video, and then I had my orient video, and then I led to just kind of like a free training. I just did like a free video training last night, and only one person joined the call, but it was a great recording. And that person and I had an opportunity to just kind of really deeply connect on a principle that I had been teaching in my observe and orient calls. Anywho, all said and done, it was really cool to ask questions that really made me think about the content that I was providing by what they wanted. I was digging deep into this person's relationship with another coach that they've had, and I was just wondering what led to really, really great relationships. All in all, it was a really great conversation, a really good point. It allowed me to get more content because I recorded it all, and I was just really grateful for the experience. But I just wanted everyone in the group to know that no matter how many hundreds or negative hundreds of people who are filing into your groups, just know that there are people watching and there are people listening, and they have the answers. It's not necessarily about us and what we have to teach or what we have to say. No one's really going to give us feedback, but people are going to give us, the answers to what they want. And that's all you have to ask. Is not a yes or no question, but hey, what kind of content would help you, or what kind of content are you looking for? And maybe it's not content, it's what's really going to help you, and you've got to know a little bit about these people, so you might have to interview them or whatnot, but you need to ask the questions that are going to lead to what is it that's going to help you move the needle in your life, or what is it that's going to help you with your health goals, or what. You just got to ask more what and how and why questions, rather than yes or no, because if you feed them, two options, they're going to give you one of the two. But the more, if we cast our nets a little bit wider, with a more, we'll call it, I'm losing my words here.
No, what you,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
John, what you just described is you don't want to lead the witness, right? You don't want to give them options to choose from that maybe aren't the actual way that they feel, right?
Exactly.
You
Thanks,
want them
Mason.
to open up and express what are the actual pains and frustrations that they run into, just on a personal level, them telling their true, authentic experience. And then as you get that feedback, then you can just shift and help serve them in the most meaningful way possible, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, that's awesome, John. So you've been pushing all these videos out, building this group, and then did you schedule an event, or did you do a Facebook Live in your group?
Yeah, I did a Facebook Live, kind of like a Facebook combo with a Zoom training, and I just invited anyone in the group. A bunch of them couldn't make it, but they wanted to watch the recording. So I at the end of the video, I asked a question and said, "Here, respond below." But I used that as an opportunity to just share one piece of we'll call it orient content at a deeper level, and then I spent the last 20% of the video talking about what they need to do as a result, and how and what they should look forward to. Still talking about some of the pain points that I had identified, and so long story short is I've invited them to all to several events, but depending on what they're looking for, either it's a kind of like a fun event or a or a more structured event. So yeah, the invitation was there, but more so focusing on the funnel side to get them to respond and then attend an event so that I can turn them into a lead.
That's perfect. Yeah, and I would encourage all of you with your different groups, even if they're small groups like John's, right? Like setting aside time, like maybe it's once a week or twice a week, where you can tell people in the group that you're going to do a training on a certain topic just in the group, and then jump on and deliver that. That's going to really build the value and allow you to connect in a deeper way with the people who are already interested in your community. And yeah, as you get into a really consistent flow like that, as your group grows, it's going to be a really powerful way to warm people up and to then, like John was saying, just make a really powerful connection that can result in clients or referrals and things like that.
Hey, Mason, question for you.
Yeah.
You know, early on, Kyle was telling us, and Dallin, they were telling us to get involved in other groups that are related to our content. Would that be a good place to go and find people like this to talk to?
Yeah, totally. And what I would say is, I mean, you just have to be like respectful of the person who owns the group, right?
You get in trouble if you try to sell to that group.
Exactly. And that's like going in other groups is a great way to do market research, right? To kind of get a pulse on what people are talking about in like bigger groups. And then, oh, my headphone's dying. Let me switch over here. Okay. Yeah, it's a really powerful way to your finger on the pulse of the market. And then what I would say is the best way to like make connections there is just to add people as friends from those other groups.
Okay.
And then what you do is from those friends, you can strike up conversations with them, and maybe not even necessarily pitch them on anything right away, but you can invite them to your other group where you have content and they see the content on your profile. And that's just a really like kind of respectful way to use other groups as a way to build your own audience.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of these groups that I've joined, they have right on the sign-up sheet, you know, the rules of the group, and it says, don't try to sell stuff to the people in this group. It's not, that's not the purpose of it.
Right. Yeah, and so you just got to be aware of that. And it's different rules for different groups. So usually it's just never pitch in anybody else's group anything, and just connect, do research, add value, and then when the time is right, you can invite individuals to come and join your group.
Okay.
But yeah, the groups is a really good way to go out and find people who look like your ideal prospect, simply just to add them as friends. And even if you have no interaction with them on an individual basis, because you're doing all this content, they're going to have that opportunity to see all your content and then to proactively engage with that. And so that's like the easy, safest way to build your audience without like stepping on anybody else's toes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
So Mason, I'm going to do a live training. I'm going to make a post today about it on either Thursday or Friday. So here's my strategy for getting feedback. It's kind of what I mentioned in the last call yesterday, where I'm going to do a live training on should I raise money? That's the question, and try to get people there. And then at the end of the training, and I'm going to announce that at the end of the training, I'm looking for feedback on what you want in this group. And I don't know if anybody will join. Hopefully I will. But my question is, and then I'll be able to get some feedback. My question is, when is the best time to do that live training to get the most people? Would it be Thursday afternoon, Friday night, Friday morning? What's the best time to do a training to get the most people watching and live from a live perspective?
Right. Yeah, that's something that I don't have like a concrete answer, just because your ideal prospect is pretty distinct, and so there's not like one time across the board that's always going to work. just because your people have different schedules and different lives, as opposed to like Lindsay's stay-at-home moms, right? So
Yeah.
I would think through the schedules, and maybe it's like a weekend morning. I'm just kind of taking a stab at what time would be best for your ideal people. Maybe a weekend morning, or like a Friday afternoon if things are starting to slow down in their work.
I was
Even
thinking
like
about Friday
evenings.
afternoon because
Yeah,
in the finance world, once the stock market closes on Friday, everybody's gone, and a lot of people take off, only work half days on Fridays, and so Friday afternoon might be good. But I've kind of got a global market. I mean, I have people in Europe and Asia that are all part of my friends and group. But anyway, I think Friday afternoon might be it. Okay.
yeah, I think that's a good time. That's probably going to be a reliable time for everybody. Things are just kind of slowing down at the end of the week, and
Okay.
maybe there's more opportunity to do some studying and learning.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, can I jump in with a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and this is maybe a question for John. John, if you can still hear, and Mason, you probably know the answer. I noticed on John, on some of the videos you're redoing, you've got subtitles popping up. Is that easy to do? Is there software that automatically does that, or how do you get that?
Yeah, Facebook will automatically encrypt its own subtitles, so you don't even have to worry about that. Depending on how you're uploading your videos, if you're doing it through your phone or through laptop, it just all depends. I can show you, James, outside the call. I'll just kind of like,
Cool.
I could walk you through one of my uploads and just show you what it does. But yeah, Facebook will automatically encrypt subtitles for you if you allow it.
Oh, cool. I mean, that was one of the objections I got from on just the philosophy. You do all videos. I'm places where I can't watch a video because of sound, but I can scroll through it. I mean, in that case, they could watch the video without sound and still hear what's being said. So I'm curious about that.
Yep, and there's tons of like tutorials and guides on.
Is there?
Just ask the question in Google. You'll have like endless tutorials
Okay.
on how to do
Okay.
it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions about where we're at so far? Content, groups, market research. If there aren't, I'll probably just dive into doing a couple of content reviews. Anybody have questions? Anybody want to volunteer for a content review? Judy? Okay, you're in. There you go. Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, I would like to volunteer for you to take a look at something that I've done.
Okay, awesome. Let's do that. Let me pull up your page here. Okay, do you have any in mind that you would
No.
like us to do, or okay?
No, we don't want to do the creative one. We already did it.
So how about the most recent one, discover the #1 skill?
Yeah, that's good.
I really love this headline too. This is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna paste it in the group, and then, all right. I just put the link to Judy's video in the Zoom group chat. Looks like it's a little over 6 minutes, so let's watch that. And as usual, take notes, identify, kind of keep in mind the structure of videos. And then Judy, can you tell everybody which stage of video this was? Observe or orient, decide?
See, I'm still confused about that because it seems like I do them all. You know, it's
Right.
that's the problem I'm having. It's like I put in the observe part, and then I put in what I think is the orient, and then I go ahead and ask them to decide and just act. And
Yeah.
so I don't know, am I supposed to not ask them to decide and act?
No, let's, so the way to think about it is you always want to ask them to take the next step,
Yeah.
right? So in the observe videos, the format is still, you know, like a hook at the beginning, which you've done awesome. I can already tell with the discover the number one skill you need to be successful in relationships. That's perfect. And then the structure is the first kind of call to action in your video or offer is going to be a little bit softer. So like comment below or like or share this. And then the one at the very end is go jump on your webinar, right? So that's all in the observe type of a video. And then in orient, it's going to be a similar format. Decide you're going to be offering to jump on a call with you and to become a client.
Okay.
So you're going to have offers all the way down, but just to take the next step. So in the decide phase and the act phase, instead of asking them to join a webinar, you're asking them to become a client.
Okay, then I'm still up in the first two.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. So let's watch this and maybe we can give Judy some feedback on where we think it best fits in the funnel, right?
That would help me.
All right. So we'll see everybody back here in the next 6 minutes. All right, is everybody done? Judy, that video was awesome. Looks like you're muted. Here, let me,
I'm here. Wait.
there we go. That
I'm
was
here.
like, that was a perfect, it was perfect Orient video. It was
Was
perfect.
it?
Yeah.
It wasn't too much training.
No. That's exactly what an Orient style video ought to be.
Okay.
I thought you nailed it. So you have a great hook, right? That kind of inspires curiosity, right? The one skill you need in to be successful in relationships. So you captured them there. You immediately did a kind of that soft call to action to join the group within like the first 20 seconds. So that was perfect. And then you went into the training, and like it's crazy how much you were able to pack into just 6 minutes. You have that hearing aid analogy, the story that illustrates the point of the person who misses the content of the conversation, right? The 3 steps to listen correctly, and then the call to action to take the next step and join the webinar. So I thought that you did an awesome job on that video.
Thank you. I felt it was little too much training and not enough pitch.
No, I thought that's like, in my opinion, I want to like run this as an ad to get more people to your webinar, just because, and it's perfect in that Orient phase. You don't spend tons of time on the pain, which is what needs to be done in the observe level. But that Orient, so people who watch those observe videos, they understand, okay, she understands this pain, she understands kind of what I'm going through. And then they see this video come in and they're already primed. Okay, Judy's got a ton of training and knowledge that can help me get to where I want to be. I'm going to sit here and watch this. And then if I haven't watched a webinar, okay, I should probably, like, that was great content. I bet there's more good stuff on the webinar. I'll join the webinar. And then in the webinar, right, you have that call to action to schedule a call. And so it's, yeah, I think that you fit that Orient style video just perfectly.
Okay.
I'm curious, kind of, what do you feel like you did well? And is there anything other than like the volume of training that you felt like you could do better on?
Yeah, I could close the door so the cat doesn't walk in and out.
Yeah, were you getting distracted?
I just saw it this time. The cat went walking through. I'm like, oh no, not again.
That's funny.
I think I come across trustworthy, and
Definitely.
I'm not a hard sell person, so I think people think, oh well, she gave me a lot of content, so therefore I can trust her. And I have a tendency to look around a lot when I'm thinking. My eyes go up and around, and it might look like I don't know what I'm doing at the time, but I need to look more straight into the camera instead of wandering with my eyes, I think.
I think that's, I mean, there's always, it's like improving on the margins, right? But I think you really kind of nailed the spirit of the Orient style content. Does anybody else have feedback for Judy after watching that video?
I thought it was perfect. I can't think of anything she should improve on.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. I'm not even
Thank
just trying
you.
to be nice.
Eric, did you have something?
I have the same feeling.
Yeah, I'd say, well, I have a question. I really liked it. And the thing that I've done on videos like that, you said you asked or felt that you gave too much of a training. My question is, if I would have done that, I would have, gone into the listening and told the story about the lady coming into the conversation late and recommending a restaurant when that's not even what the group was talking about. I've done that. It's really embarrassing. But I would have numbered, I would have said, here are my top 3 tips for listening. And then said, if you want to know more, I'll give you, 3 more, join the group and join my Facebook group, and I'll give you 3 more of my tips for listening.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really definitely really valuable feedback. So it's just
Yeah.
thinking through how you structure the pitch for either the group or the webinar, right? So you can put the content that you're giving them in the video in context of this isn't everything. There's so much more, and I go into this and this and this. It's going to help you get this and this and this, and you should take action now. Go to the group or join the webinar, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's good.
Yeah. So Mason, how would you change the call to action depending on if this were just if it's an observe, an orient, or a decide video, would you change like the call to action at the end?
So yeah, in observe, where you're spending a lot more time describing somebody's problem and the pain and telling stories about it, I would, so think about it in terms of like the level of commitment. At observe up here, the level of commitment, like you're not going to pitch them to become a customer or client. You just want them to take the next step in developing this relationship with you. And that's what the group is for. And that like the parallel would be like, I mean, you could invite somebody to join like your email list or download like a simple little like cheat sheet, like the 3 steps for listening, like a PDF. So you want it to be a kind of a smaller commitment. In the orient phase, it's just finding the right way to ramp up that commitment. So like with Judy's, the bigger commitment is to spend, an hour, 90 minutes with her on a webinar. And so that's definitely more of a commitment than just being in the group, right? And then decide is, okay, it's time to get off the fence and it's time to become a client, basically, and get the result that you know that I can help you get.
Do you think I should have put more pain up front? I didn't talk a lot about pain in this video.
Right. I think that, so just keep in mind that the observe style content is where you really want to articulate the context around the pain, the problem that they're facing, and help them understand why they're experiencing it. And then in these orient style videos, you could have spent a little bit more time on that, but the purpose of spending that time on the pain and the problem is to just reemphasize, just to reconnect in that emotion, and then quickly move on to the training. So I wouldn't spend tons of time on it, but I would kind of reconnect with it. And you could do that with that story too, that you told. Like you could spend a little bit more time on the emotion of what it feels like to do that, to like not be a good listener and how embarrassing it might be. And then if you dwell on that a little bit more, then the steps that you teach them for listening, they're a lot more emotionally relevant, right?
Okay. To move the story up front.
Yeah, that's a great way to, like, that's not the end all be all, that's the way to do it, but that's definitely something to test. And I always like leading with a story, like the intense part of a story, and then you kind of open up a loop in their mind. If you don't resolve the story immediately, you can kind of resolve it at the end of the video, because then they're like, oh, what happened, right? Just depending on the nature of the story.
Okay.
All right, does anybody else have, James?
Yeah, Judy, I'm just curious how you would feel about having some mobile video equipment potentially. And by the way, I echo what everyone else said. That's like perfect. I put in the comments that you should do some of my videos for me, but the setting is always the same too. I don't know if that's a drawback for anyone or not, and that's probably more so for us because we see them all back to back.
Yeah.
But it's always right there. I don't know if pick up your phone.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I've done some with my phone in other places. But I find that I wasn't as comfortable there. But I'm getting ready to be real challenged because I'm leaving next week for Panama, and I'll be down there several weeks. So I'll have to do all my videos in new locations.
That was the only thought I had. But
yeah, thank you. I think this room is kind of like boring, but it's just that I'm comfortable talking into this camera more so than holding my phone up or putting it on a tripod or something. But you're right. I need to try some other things.
Yeah, that'll be a fun challenge in Panama.
Yeah. it
I'm
will.
excited for videos from Panama. That'll be awesome. Yeah, and that's a good piece of feedback too, James.
Very,
By
very
far,
good.
by far, the number one priority is just to get comfortable though and get into that rhythm of content creation, which you've done great at, Judy. And then it's starting to not stray too far and not overwhelm yourself too much, but then start testing different things, either technically or just with your content, structuring the content in ways that you feel like would best serve your market, right?
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
that.
James.
feedback.
That's good feedback. I appreciate it.
All right. Anybody else?
I like the cat in the background, by the way, too, personally. But
It just walks through.
Yeah, that is like, there's an argument to be had for both, right? Having the cat in the background, like we're like in your home with you and you're kind of teaching us in your home, and it's more intimate. It's more of like oh yeah, Judy's like my friend. She has this experience that I can learn from, you know? So having just regular life stuff happening is, I think it's okay.
Okay. That's
All
the
right.
cat right there.
Oh, hey, kitty. Yeah. All right, guys. Any last questions, feedback, questions about anything that we've talked about this week? Content, market research, conversations.
You said something about a magnetic offer worksheet.
Yes. So towards the beginning of this whole course, I think towards the beginning of January, end of December, we introduced, as we were going through that, the offer statements, the market research, that magnetic offer observation form is just a really, really powerful tool to revisit on a regular basis. Sometimes, especially in the beginning, almost like once a week, but once a month is just really good to go through that process. And so if you go through that again, especially after having conversations with more of these people and really starting to understand, and then going through that worksheet again, that's going to just help you pull out new insights that you can use to adapt your business just to fit the needs of your market quickly. So let me, I believe we've got that those assignments built out in the classroom. I'll make sure that those get in the classroom, but I believe that, so the assignment was to make sure you get all that content done that we've talked about the last 6 weeks, and then have conversations with 10 people in your market, and I would say that haven't been your client before, and ask them about their journey, what they're trying to accomplish, so that you know how to adapt your offering to fit your market better. And then fill out that magnetic offer observation form again, and with any new insights that you have. So those 3 things. Does anybody have any questions about that? All right. All right, guys. Well, this was an awesome call, and thanks, Judy, for volunteering your video. That was an awesome video. It's so exciting to see all you guys' content and like how you're just getting so dialed in, and you're obviously getting more comfortable with it, and it's really going to pay off long term, because social media is not going away, and knowing how to communicate effectively on social media is such a huge lever to grow your business. So it's just really exciting to see. All right, one last chance. Any last questions before we sign off for the week, and then we'll see you Tuesday? All right, guys.
All good. Thanks. Have a
Sounds
nice day.
good.
Have a nice week.
Have a good
All
week.
thanks, everybody.
Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.